Energy as a factor in sustainable development and its impact on the cost of doing business in the TCI was the topic at the Chamber of Commerce meeting last evening, February 7th, at the Sands Resort Providenciales. Speaking first was Electrical Commissioner Malik Cummings.
The utilities are small, they lack that competitive edge because of the lack of economy of scale, which has posed tremendous problems within the sector. The diesel supply chain as we know it, the diesel is first landed in the Bahamas and then shipped to the Turks and Caicos Islands. It is charged at 1% on the CIF value of that fuel. So even before it gets to the TCI, the price goes up. We are totally dependent on diesel, and our future outlook is to see the role of how we could diversify the generation mix, the fuel generation mix.
Cummings said they are developing an energy policy.
We are in the process of developing an energy policy and implementation strategy for the Turks and Caicos Islands. We have received some preliminary assessment of the impact of renewables on the cost and price of electricity in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Cummings said this is preliminary. He said to bear in mind that renewables does not necessarily reduce the cost and price of electricity. Also speaking was Wesley Clevo, Director of the Department of Environment and Coastal Resources, DECR, who said this is just a starting point.
We need to think, the government that is, the country, need to think in terms of how can we survive, because we import everything, we're net importers of goods. How long can we survive in terms of sustainability if, for example, the harbor is blocked for 2 months, or if there's an oil crisis? So all those scenarios bring in the concept that we need to think further than just, we need to think and bring into play or start the discussion of sustainability as much as possible. So this is a starting point as far as I can see in terms of discussing and coming up with solutions as to the solution for sustainability of the TCI in terms of energy and its consumption.
So the question is, according to Clevo, why not solar energy? He said this assessment will find the barriers.
Mr. Cummings mentioned the case example of Barbados in terms of over 50% of the homes in Barbados have solar water heaters. In TCI, we are less than 2%, I believe. Very few individuals have that. Now, the question have to be asked, why not? We still have the same solar, the same sun, a relatively same climate. Why not? Now, this is just one example of the question to be asked. What are the barriers that prevent us from having a similar output, a similar uptake of renewable energy? Is it custom tariff? Is it the government policy? Is it other initiative? Is it legislation? So this energy policy mission that we have embarked on is to, first and foremost, the project starts by doing an assessment of what is our energy consumption level. Then the consultants look at what are the barriers to sustainable energy, and those barriers could be from government policies, from government lack of legislation or improper legislation, if you want to call it. I'm not saying one or the other, but there might be barriers. There might be people, mind concept, lack of knowledge, lack of information, access to technology. But the first step towards energy conservation or sustainable energy is understanding what exactly we have on the ground.